Escape the plantations, I'm breaking away. Never looking back, it's a brand new day. Profit on my mind, success in my sight. Living life my way, everything feels right.
Welcome to Escape the Plantations podcast. I'm your host, Mimi Staxx. And before we get started, I gotta say, death to the employee within and rise to the boss. Death to the employee within and rise to the boss. I escaped the plantation over 20 years ago, and I'm doing this podcast to help potential bosses who feel stuck and are trapped in the job market and need to break free so that they can ascend to the world of boss. Yes, yes, yes. If I'm not mistaken, you guys, because I left y'all hanging for a few months, and I'm not going to get into why. I don't have to explain anything, and I won't. However, I will pick up where I left off. We're at episode number 12. We're still in the series of planning your escape for those who are on the plantation and are ready to bounce. Just a recap, we went in first to the first step, which was um, choosing a simple business. And if you haven't listened to it yet, you need to. Then we went to step 2, where we talked about focusing on recurring boss bread. That was number 2. So if you didn't listen to that, you need to go back and listen to that. Now we're going into step 3. Step 3 is an interesting one because it's not something that most of you would think has a lot to do with getting a business off the ground. But yet, it is a pivotal point in your transformation if you need to transform. So this one is, we're planning the escape and we're going into uh, uh, looking to adopt a frugal mentality. They say a fool and their money shall soon part. And me knowing that, being as though I wasn't really good with money, especially in the beginning, and still working on it now, I can say that to be true. But at ETP, we have a saying: a fool and their business shall soon part. So if you's an idiot and you's a fool and you are not doing what is necessary to keep your business thriving and going in a very good way, you're not going to have that business for long. That's what it's saying. So let's go into it, you guys. Let's go into frugality. Now, most people assume that being frugal is being cheap, and that's not the truth. Frugal is being able to make the best out of the funds that you have and the resources that you have so that you can achieve a certain objective. Cheap is when you try to go the cheap route, even if it's to the own detriment of the goal that you have set. So we need to explore those things, and not necessarily cheap. We're not going to talk about cheap, but frugal is important. And frugality, practicing frugality, adopting a frugal mentality can assist and help you not only get off of the plantation and escape the plantation, but to stay off that motherfucker. Stay off the plantation. Just stay off of it. Once you get off and you know how to make recurring boss bread and you know the things you need to do, ain't no need to come back, get back on the plantation. It really isn't. Not unless you're looking to leave the world of boss. And in that case, God bless you. So let's go on. Employee minded people, they believe in the myth that all bosses are rich, are plentiful in resources, and can easily waste and spend money. Oh, they got it. Oh, they're the boss. They have this. They have that. Look at this building. Look at these resources. Look at all the employees they pay. Look, they got the money. That is employee mindset based off of assumptions that employees have about bosses. It never ever comes to their mind that maybe the boss is sacrificing, maybe the boss is doing what is necessary to find not a cheap approach, but a frugal approach so that they can actually have more funds to be able to run the business, to pay the employees, and to also pay themselves. Maybe they're just looking for a more efficient way to do it. Employees don't think that way because they don't have to think that way. All they have to do is go to the plantation, do what they're told to do, clock in, clock out. And I'm here to tell you that that mindset is wrong. There are certain bosses that are actually in struggle mode. Now, we're not going to discuss them, but they're bosses in their own right and they're struggling. So to say that they're rich and they have all this money is a falsehood. Now, let's go into what a smart boss and one that has learned its lesson does. If they don't start out being a frugal boss, I can tell you that the world of boss will whoop your boss ass and humble you into frugality. You're going to get to a point where you're going to say, hey, I have to be frugal. To be frugal and moral at the same time is a possibility. Those bosses that don't want to be frugal wind up stealing, killing, robbing Peter to pay Paul to try to stay on top. And that's not what we subscribe to here at ETP. With being a boss, you want to be frugal so that you can make money, save money, and keep money. When you live in a world of frugality, you want to eliminate waste and you want to eliminate non essential purchases that don't add on to your wealth building and offer you something of significant value. You know, I heard a story one time, I don't know how true it is, about Warren Buffett. If you don't know who Warren Buffett is, he's a billionaire. And you can look him up because I ain't got time to explain. Warren Buffett, they say he went to a hotel and, they were selling soda like Coca-Colas and stuff. And they were selling it for like astronomical price. And he was like, ooh, that's some bullshit. So he sent somebody to the supermarket and bought a whole case of sodas. And, when I heard that story, it was funny because to some degree, I could relate to that experience. Like, why am I going to buy this one soda when I can buy a whole case, 12 pack for the same price? Right? Most people, when you say that out loud, think you're cheap. They don't look at you as being frugal. Most employees and most employee minded people don't even know what frugal is. They don't, because they don't teach it and nor do they celebrate it or promote it. But I'm saying all this to say, if a billionaire, a multi-billionaire can say this Coca-Cola, this shit's too high, I'm going to send somebody to the store and save me a couple pennies, couple bucks, right? Why couldn't somebody that's on the plantation that has a very limited income, very limited wage, very limited resources do the same thing? It's very interesting. And it came to me that this isn't about financial status more so than it is about mindset. And then we always wonder how people get to where they are. It makes me think of the pseudo bosses. Pseudo bosses tend to be flashy and wasteful, and they are employee minded people who want to be perceived as boss. And so instead of course, being that, they buy the image. Go back to the pseudo boss and the pseudo Boston episode because it breaks it down more on what the pseudo Boston is. But anyway, slaves on the plantation have been taught to be consumers and taught to waste bread. This is what we've been taught to do. We've been trained and taught and indoctrinated into believing that every time we get bread, we need to find something to spend it on. And if you save it or you invest it or you look to try to use coupons or do whatever you can to save the bread that you work so hard for, you're criticized. You're looked at as cheap. You're looked at as weird, even though you have more of what would be a billionaire's mindset. Consumers. What can I say about consumers? Consumers are people who have the mindset to consume. They consume until there's nothing left. And then they cry out that they don't make enough. That's the reason that they don't have anything. And the truth of the matter is, you guys, these people that carry the consumer mindset, they will never have enough, ever. Because just as quickly as they get enough, they go out and they get more. And then they soon find that enough will never be enough. They always find something to spend their disposable income on, their disposable crumbs. But see, this is where Master comes in because Master loves consumers just the same way as he loves his slaves. Because all the Master does is give you these crumbs that you call income, and then he takes it back in the form of profits when you buy, because you want to consume. Because you are Master's investment. And you always give Master a return by your way of consuming. You are Master's asset. How can you escape the plantation and thrive in the world of boss if you are constantly spending your business capital? Employee minded people whine about that too. They say, "Oh, I don't have enough. I need to get a loan. I need to do this. I don't have enough. Oh, I'm not getting enough. Oh, I don't have enough money to do this and do that." Of course you don't. Because whatever business capital, potential business capital you did have, you spend it. You spent it. You spent it on that big screen TV. You financed it on this house or this car, this brand new car that you didn't need. You financed it on clothes, and your clothes was like $100, $200 for a shirt. This is the things that you do. And then you whine and cry to boohoo's about why you're still slaving and you're on the plantation because you're not practicing frugality. You are not a boss, you're a consumer. And even if you are a boss, bosses are guilty of it too. Consuming. You're doing too much consuming and not enough bossing, obviously. Slaves are constantly working to make crumbs, only to go into debt, become a debt slave, and then to use their slave labor crumbs to work off the debt. This is why you have that recurring cycle. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. Let me ask you a question that might hurt. Is this you? Are you guilty of being a consumer? That means you would be a slave on top of a slave. You're on the plantation as a job slave, and then you're on the plantation as a debt slave. Damn. If you want to plan your escape, you guys, you're going to have to make changes, and you're going to have to make sacrifices. Remember when I talked about it in the world of boss? I think it was maybe the second episode. I said that bosses have to practice RSL: risk, sacrifice, and loss. Not in all one swoop, but you're going to experience one of those letters or more in the lifestyle you're going to live if you're living in the world of boss. You have to. Now, I want to get it clear. We are not striving to be broke bosses. I feel like a broke boss is for suckers. I understand sometimes a boss can so happen to go broke. It happens, but as long as they get back up and go at it again, it's all good. But we're not practicing the art of how to be a broke boss, how to look like you have something, but you don't have nothing. That's not it. The $1 million question would be, when boss bread comes in, what do you do with it? That's if it comes in for you at all. What do you do when the boss bread comes in? Do you go ahead and buy a brand new pair of boots? Do you go and take your boo out for dinner and a movie? What do you do when this boss bread comes through? You don't have to answer it to me. Answer it to yourself. Do you make the best use of this boss bread? How is it making more money for you? How is it making your business run more efficiently? They say blowing money is easy to do, and so is going out of business. How are you protecting your bread? How are you protecting your bread from the employee within? Because if that employee within is still there, they gonna fuck up your bread all kinds of ways. Just another way and another insurance to make sure that you don't succeed in the world's boss. This is what's gonna happen. In business, when I we first my partner and I we first started um our waste management company, we had our first truck. We got it from the auction. And I remember we paid like 2,500 for this pickup truck. We could have went to the Chevy lot and bought a brand new Chevy Silverado, but we chose to do something different. As long as it worked and we could fix it and it could do the job that it needed to do, we were fine with it. That's frugal. I tell you another thing that's frugal. When you have a vehicle, whether it's a car, business car, personal car, and you say to yourself, "Hey, I need a tire." Back in the day, we used to just get the all brand new tires. No, no, tires cost too damn much nowadays. And even just because I can afford it, don't mean that I need to pay it. I get used tires. I get used tires that got good tread on them, and I put it on my car, and it runs just fine. And it doesn't scream out, "Hey, I was bought used." It's just a tire on a damn car. Frugality. It made more sense for me to get a used tire than to get brand new tires. That's frugal. Now, cheap is when you see a tire on the road and it's a waist tire. It don't has very little tread on it, and you like, hey, I don't know if this is my size or not. It's cheap. It's free. I'm gonna get this joint put on my car. It's not serving the purpose. You're gonna make things worse. Being cheap. Cheap goes against what you're trying to do. Frugal accomplishes the mission at a reasonable price. Still gives you the value, right? It's sort of like going to Aldi's. versus Whole Foods. Now, yeah, certain things at Whole Foods that you can't get at Aldi's, but do I need all that stuff? Look, I'll say it again, and I said it in other episodes. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I can go to Whole Foods and say, hey, I got some boss bread. Let me start bossing up and eating at Whole Foods. But why? Why? If I can get the same or even better quality hummus at Aldi's, I'm going to go to Aldi's. I'm going to save me a lot of bread going to Aldi's. And I do currently save a lot of bread going to Aldi's. I'll go to Whole Foods if it's around every now and then, if I feel the need to or just want to. But typically, on the average, everyday type of let's go shopping and fill up your refrigerator, Aldi's. I'm going to Aldi's. Marshalls versus Macy's. I'm going to Marshalls. See, first of all, I don't need name brand stuff like that. But even if I did, I used to go to Marshalls. See if I can get a Tommy Hilfiger polo. I go to Marshalls first. I'm not going to Macy's first. Even then, I might not go to Macy's at all. It's too damn expensive. Right? Marshalls is better for me than Macy's. You might not think so. You might say, I'm going to Macy's. And that's your business. But what I'm saying is, when you're looking to get off the plantation, you got decisions that you got to make. And the decisions that you make overall is going to reflect and show in your business. It's going to reflect and show, did you get off the plantation, or are you still on the plantation racking up checks so that you can afford that shirt for $500 at Macy's? I mean, you guys, we got to make it make sense. We got to make it make sense. I will easily go to an outlet over just going to a regular store. Why? Because the outlets usually have what? Deals. And that's what I'm looking for. It's interesting because even in business, bosses look for what? For deals. We don't say, hey, we're boss, we got all this money, let's just pay top dollar for everything. We're looking to cut expenses. We're looking to see how we can cut some expenses without cutting the quality, but still getting what we need to get done. Frugal. And then, people might not agree with this, but hand me downs. I will do hand me downs to this very day with people that's close to me and my family. If we wear the same size and they got something that they want to throw away or take to the Goodwill or something, and I'm looking at it like, hey, I might be able to fit this. Let me try this on. Perfect fit, quality clothes. I'm taking it. I don't care about it has to be brand new from the store. I don't care that a sibling, a cousin, or somebody close to me wore it first. I will wear that and not think twice about it. Frugality is going to save you, you guys. It's one thing to make the money, it's another thing to be able to protect your money from yourself, from the employee within, and from bad decisions. Because when you realize that, hey, I made good decisions, this is why I can say I got 100 grand in the bank. Okay. That ain't accidental. Oh, I accidentally saved 100,000. No, it's not. That's not accidental. That's somebody being smart with their bread, frugal, and not caring about what people think. You don't need to look rich. You know you ain't rich, and the people that know you ain't rich. So who's trying to prove what to who? And you guys, with that being said, I think that's enough. I think I'm done. This is the third step. You want to get off the plantation. You can't get off the plantation spending and being a consumer and utilizing all your available resources, including your credit and everything else, to go ahead and look a certain part, while at the same time striving to be something like a boss. It ain't gonna work. You go into the world of the boss, it's gonna humble you. And if it's gonna humble you anyway, you might as well have some bread. That always helps. I don't know what you got from this particular episode, but I'm gonna roll the dice and bet that you got something from it. And I don't want you guys don't hit me with the, oh, well, we knew that already. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Cuz y'all be killing me with that. Y'all knew it but ain't do it. I don't understand. Again, this is not about coming up with something new. This is about just putting the real raw truth in your face so that you can experience a transformation to get into the world of boss. Hopefully you get something well from it. But let's just say that you've listened to this episode and you said this was a waste of my damn time. Well, the only thing that I can say to you is this: you don't need the plantations. The plantations need you. This is Mimi Staxx signing out. Boss well.
Escape the plantations. I'm